2. All right, guys, welcome to EBC High School. My name is Dr. Shawn Brown, a principal here at EBC, and I'm excited to introduce you to some of my teachers. Truly, they are the engine that keeps the ship going, and I'm happy to introduce them to everyone. And they're really excited to be here. So first, why don't we do this by having everyone introduce themselves, the content they teach, and how many years they've been teaching. We can start with Mrs. Hoyte.
Hi, my name is Ms. Hoyte. I teach special education, instructional support. I've been teaching for 14 years and 13 years at EBC.
Okay. Mr. Mungioli.
Hi, I'm Joe Mungioli. I teach social studies, U.S. history mainly. I've been teaching for 20 years at EBC.
And Ms. Romero. Your mic.
Hi, sorry about that. My name is Mrs. Romero. I'm an ENL teacher and I've been here teaching at EBC this is my 7th year.
Okay. So, like I stated, today we're going to be talking about co-teaching relationships. And if you work in the Department of Education, you know that depending on your co-teacher, things can go good or bad. And I had the opportunity to visit this group, and I saw that there was a chemistry and they were working well together. And I wanted them to kind of share how they got to this place. So first of all, what class do you guys all teach together? And what grade?
11th grade U.S. history.
11th grade U.S. history. Okay. And this is the first time you guys co-taught together, like starting this school year?
Well, it's actually my first time teaching with Mr. Mungioli and Ms. Hoyte. I believe they co-taught in the prior years together.
Okay. So Hoyte, you and Mungioli taught other courses together?
Yes, we taught U.S. history in the past.
Okay. And so I'll start with Mr. Mungioli. You're the veteran. You are the content area teacher. You're the guy. Why do you feel, when I went into the classroom though, I saw Ms. Hoyte kind of in the front leading instruction. How could you let something like that happen? Why are you so comfortable allowing your co-teachers to do that as the veteran, as the content area guy?
We're all teachers and we're all there to do the same work, which is to facilitate the students in learning. So I think, and we all have certain areas that we're stronger in and have certain strengths that we all utilize, I think. And I think it just comes down to a level of trust between us as teachers. You know, we've been teaching together for a number of years. And we know that we all have the same goal in mind. So it's kind of pretty seamless, the kind of the back and forth, the trading off. You know, all of us will lead the classroom at different times. And it just kind of happens organically more than anything, really.
Okay. And Ms. Hoyte, you seemed very comfortable kind of taking the leadership role at that time. Is that always the case with your co-teachers as a special education teacher? Now, we're not saying any names.
Right. No. It hasn't been. Well, there are two things. In terms of the level of comfort, is that having a co-teacher or working with a co-teacher is like often having a good marriage or a bad marriage. And it boils down to what Mr. Mungioli said, a level of trust, comfort, and the ability to have conversations, honest conversations about what works, what isn't working. Yeah, so I think it's important, the level of transparency, and what Mr. Mungioli also emphasized is our goal is to really help our students in terms of learning the content, becoming excited about the material. So yeah, I'm just emphasizing what he just said. It's pretty much the same thing in terms of trusting your co-teachers.
And Ms. Romero, I noticed that you had some interesting grouping going on for your E&L students. And I really didn't understand exactly what was happening at the time, but could you speak a little bit about what exactly was happening? Because I know there was some type of thought behind your grouping.
Right. So the ENL students, I don't group them to where I want them to feel comfortable where they're sitting. I want them to feel comfortable with their surroundings. So I don't group them all together. They kind of sit where they want to, and I will shift to them and help them out. What makes it easier is the fact that I'm able, because they're in a comfort zone, I'm able to join that comfort zone and help them and assist them where they need the most support in. If you saw, I was kind of bouncing around from group to group. Again, it's where they're comfortable. If they're comfortable, I know that they're learning. So I don't group the kids together. Okay, these are my ENL kids. They can only sit here. No, I allow them to be who they are, and I will go to them to support them. I think it works better that way. When you group them, they kind of feel isolated from the rest of the kids, and that's one thing that I try to avoid.
Okay. Something that was interesting is it felt like it's kind of built into the lesson plan that each of you have like certain roles. I don't know if that's done on purpose or is organic. And I wanted to go back to Mr. Mungioli in terms of lesson planning. How do you guys, because most people, a complaint that some co-teachers have is, I can't co-teach with this person because I don't have the lesson plan and I can't really participate. But it seemed as if you guys did. So I was wondering, was it planned out in your curriculum, in your lesson, or is it just organic and you guys kind of jump in when you feel confident and comfortable? Mr. Mungioli?
I think it's some of both of those things. I think the fact that Ms. Hoyte and I have taught this course before in the past is a big help. I think there's a certain level of repetition. When you repeat things, doing things, you learn what works for certain lessons. You learn what doesn't work. Who should step forward at this point in the lesson for any particular lesson. I think the more experience you have together, that helps, and be able to do that, I think.
And Ms. Hoyte, and you guys might not know her in the internet world, but she's the sweetest person on earth. She can work with anyone. But I'm going to be honest, there's times that I go and I see you in classrooms and you're a little bit more reserved and you kind of focus on the students and you don't really seem as, like, hey, I'm going to be a part of it. How do you deal with co-teaching relationships that are not as organic or as fluid as this relationship? Do you speak with your colleagues? Do you find a way to just focus on students? Because there's a lot of teachers throughout the Department of Education who have that struggle and they don't know how to deal with it. What do you do?
No, I think it can be very, very difficult. In U.S. history, we do team teaching, we do parallel teaching where you can divide the students up into smaller groups to focus on differentiation and challenging material. We also do alternate instruction where we might have a student who needs a lot more focused instruction. So that might be one or two students. In terms of working with other co-teachers, we have a really good setup in U.S. history, but in terms of other areas and other classes that I've taught in the past, sometimes it can be difficult if you don't know the material, if you're a new teacher, and if you don't know the content, and so that can lead to a lot of difficulty. So I remember teaching math, being a co-teacher in a math class, and it was a horrible experience for me because I didn't know the content. And being able to sit down and talk to that teacher about, what my skills are, and learning that was really difficult, was a very difficult experience for me. So I wasn't able to do team teaching for the first couple of months. It was difficult for me to do parallel teaching because I didn't know the content. And I think that can be difficult for your content teacher if you're working with co-teacher who doesn't know the content.
Yeah. Yeah, I think knowing the content is a struggle. Like some people, special education teachers have to kind of know everything. And then thinking about that, I think about E&L teachers that have to provide alternate assessments, and they have to translate documents, and they have to, every single thing that's taught in the classroom, they have to figure out a way to make it accessible for E&L students. And Ms. Romero, how do you go about taking the materials, translating it? Like what is that process like for you? Because I think sometimes E&L teachers don't get enough credit for the amount of work they have to do with those students in the material.
So I'm very grateful for Mr. Mungioli and Ms. Hoyte, because when you have the lesson available ahead of time, it makes your job much easier, and it makes the support that you give the students 100% better. I'm very grateful because they've taught this in the past. The majority of the information is already there. So I'm able to go on, I'm able to log into that Google Classroom and see exactly what we're doing the next day and study it. This way, when I go in that classroom, I'm ready for the E&L kids. I know what we're doing, we're on point, and I can help them. I'm not going in blinded. And that's one thing that I'm extremely grateful for, because a lot of times we don't have that at our disposal. So it's a blessing that I do have it. Translating the information, it is a process. Again, I'm grateful that Mr. Mungioli, because they've been teaching it for so long, it's there. But for the most part, in the other classes, it is a struggle at times where a lesson is given to you at the last minute, and it's almost like, okay, well, how am I going to support my L's if I'm not prepared ahead of time? So it does become a struggle, but when the material is given to you so that you can prepare it, it makes life much easier.
Okay, so yeah, I think preparation is super important, and you guys spoke about that. And I wanted to tell you guys, whether you realize it or not, you're doing an amazing job together. All of our students were able to learn. Everyone was engaged. If you're worrying about your rating, you got a good rating. Don't worry about it. And I also wanted to say thank you on behalf of the school community for doing this interview and sharing your stories as co-teachers. I know in your mind, you're like, okay, why are we doing all of this? The reason is because some teachers have challenges, and instead of hearing it from myself, we're moving to engaging more staff in the professional development. It'll be better to hear it from a colleague. So again, thank you for all that you do. And that's pretty much it. You guys have a great day. And thank you for logging in to our virtual professional development here at EBC High School. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. You too.